Hi everyone, I'm Lois and this is another book video. Let's get into it. DNF stands for Did Not Finish, and since becoming a Kindle girl there's been a lot of books that I DNF. Some for different reasons, most of them were for the same reason. Let's talk about it. Before I get into it, I just want to give out a quick disclaimer. These are my opinions and my thoughts and they should not take away from your reading experience. They're just not for me. We're going to start off with a really mild one, The Reproposal. The Reproposal is about Cody and Clarissa, past lovers, now rivals, but mainly on Clarissa's side. Cody hates himself for leaving and Clarissa hates him too. Throughout the book we see Cody chase Clarissa and give her extravagant gifts in order to buy her back, and I thought that was really cute. Now let's talk about my problem. Before I picked up this book, I'd never read a second chance romance, and the idea of it seemed really appealing to me. But I still can say I've never read a good second chance romance. I feel like I'd really enjoy a second chance romance. You know, the idea of fixing a past mistake, apologies that would deserve being given. I feel like those are things that really appeal to me in a book. So I like third act breakups, so second chance romance seems like something I should be interested in. Not this book. I picked up this book thinking I was going to really enjoy it. And for the most part I did. But then children were involved. For the most part, my problem with this book is not the romance at all. In fact, the couple are so sweet and so cute. It's just kids. Clarissa and Cody both work in the same workplace, and you would think that the forced proximity would make their love story advance. It does, but the author also throws in children to make it advance more for the plot and quicker. Whereas I would much prefer if this book was more of a slow burn. We watch him win her over instead of wear her down. For instance, they'd have a cute little workplace banter, and over time she'd soften to him and forgive him for what he did. No, instead kids are thrown into the mix. The forced proximity apparently wasn't enough, so what does Cody do? Well, Cody doesn't necessarily choose to adopt a child, but an adopted child is thrown onto him. It's kind of like an Annie thing, except for the fact that what I love about Annie is that it's not a romance movie. Do you know what the crazy part is? The adopted child isn't even the first time that a child is used in this plot to make the love interest together. No. In the first chapters, Cody's niece actually goes up to Clarissa and basically begs her please love my uncle, in that type of way. And honestly, I can look past that, kids are cute or whatever. Why do we need Cody to adopt a whole child for Clarissa to like him? Why can't she just like him for him? And honestly, just didn't do it for me. It's for me at least, it gives off the pregnancy trope vibes, and I literally don't read that book for those reasons, where kids are used as a plot to make the love interest closer. No, that's not something I enjoy. If you like that, I think you should read this book, because honestly I did like it. It's just I'm not a kids person. Out on a limb. I am so upset that I have to talk bad about this book, but I love this book so much and I think you guys will too. But when I went into this book, I went into it blind. I did not know a single thing, and it is the pregnancy trope, and I'm really upset that I picked it. But it's such a good book. It's about two disabled people who fall in love, and it's just so sweet. We've got all the good vibes. They fall in love after one date. It's just there's a banter, there's a mutual understanding, and it's so beautiful. But I don't like the fact that she got pregnant. And I don't know what happens after that, but I got to the pregnancy point and I stopped reading. But I feel like everyone will enjoy this book. Please give it a read. At least try it. If you don't like pregnancy trope, like me, that's albeit. But if you do, this is definitely one of the best books I could recommend. Astrid Parker doesn't fail. This book was such a failure for me. Oh my goodness. Let's get into it. Astrid is a interior designer, I believe, and Jordan's family owns the hotel that she has to design. And they meet before they start working together, and they don't hit it off. In fact, Astrid comes at Jordan like a crazy person. And that was really interesting to me. But then the book goes on the most guys, I don't even want to talk about this book. It actually physically upsets me because I was so excited to read this book. There's literally nothing to talk about. They meet, and then slowly over time they become lovers. But when I tell you it's so slow, I read 80% of this book. No, more like 90, but it would have been so easy for me to continue and finish, but I couldn't. This book drove me insane. There's nothing good to say about this book. It's completely boring. The way I would describe this book to you guys is more of a how-to book. It's more of Astrid telling us how to redesign a hotel. It's nothing new. There's no good depth, nothing. I mean, Jordan has an ex that's kind of obsessed over her, but that's it. There's nothing interesting. I read 9% of this book, like I said, but when I tell you I skimmed through 70% of it, and I still was bored, like out of my mind. And the 20% I did read, only 5% of it was like good romance. Like, I can't tell you how much this book enraged me because I was so looking forward to it. And it's just, there's nothing to talk about. 5% of it was cute, but that book is too long to only have 5% of it be interesting. It was just, oh, how do we decorate this hotel? How do we decorate this hotel? How do we, I don't care. And I've seen a lot of people who have the same opinion as me, and I'm just so glad that we all sort of thought the same thing. But if you didn't, let me know down in the comments. Now for the big one. Haunting Adeline. This book was disturbing, to say the least. If you haven't heard about this book, maybe go look it up. But here I'm going to put some trigger warnings because this book, like I said, is really disturbing, and I don't know if it's suitable for all audiences, but here's some trigger warnings. Look away now if you need to. But yeah, this book was creepy. And I know it's dark romance, and a lot of people are going to say, well, if you don't like dark romance, you don't like dark romance. I do like dark romance, but it's just, maybe this was too dark for me, but there's just so much wrong with this book. This book is about our main character, Adeline, being stalked and obsessed over by our main male character, Zaid. And it's just really, really upsetting. So Adeline moves into this mansion that her grandmother left her, and then Zaid finds her picture one day and he just obsessed with her. Now that's not my problem with this book. I mean, it could be, but it's not. I recognize that that's what dark romance comes with. It comes with a bit of like spice, I guess. But let me continue. Zaid is our quote-unquote love interest, and there's morally grey characters, and then there's Zaid. So Zaid sees Adeline's picture on a billboard, and from then on it's obsession, stalking, murder, torture. And granted, he doesn't do all those things to Adeline, but he definitely does them for her. And at first it's kind of in the way that it's like, oh, if you touch her, I'll kill you, which I guess you could say is kind of cute. But then it goes on to, like, she's in danger, and he's her predator, and that's not cute. Before I really get into it, I just want to commend the author for one thing, which is the grandmother letters. I thought those were really cute. They were like a murder mystery kind of thing, and I was really interested in those. And that's the one thing I will say that's really good about this book. And I feel like you guys should recommend me some more murder mystery books because that was really interesting, but make sure they have a bit of romance. I'm not going to spoil too much about the letters from my grandma, but they were really, really good. This book is hell. This book is so jarring and so badly written, and when I tell you, you would think because it's a dark romance, it's going to keep you on your toes. It's so boring! And when it's not being boring, it's being disturbing. Not to mention, the pace is tremendously slow. Adeline and Zaid don't meet until like really deep in the middle of the book. It's just, it's a headache. It's a headache to even get that far. I have so many problems with Zaid. Like I said, there's morally grey characters, and then there's literal rapists like Zaid. And that should not be romanticized in any novel. And before anyone rushes to the comments to say, oh, you should have checked the trigger warnings, you should have checked the trigger warnings. When I did check the trigger warnings, I thought, and I saw all of that, first off, that's a lot. And I saw all of that, I thought, okay, it's going to be in her past, or maybe it's going to happen to her in the book, but never in a million years did I think the things that were going to happen to her were from her love interest. And we're supposed to be into that? Okay. Don't even bother defending Zaid. He's a rapist and I'm not gonna listen. She said no, he felt like she wanted it, he did it. And like, that's not cool. But what makes it so much worse is that the author will try and convince you that Zaid's a good character because he helps kids who are like victims of, you know, sexual trafficking and rape and all that things. But it's not, you know, this doesn't take away from the fact that he literally does these things and he still comes home and rapes a girl. Like, she's literally using victims' traumas and things like that to convince you that Zaid is like an okay character. No, he's not. After the gun scene, I literally couldn't continue this book, and I hate that men like him are being romanticized, and it's just not okay. We should not romanticize abuse or toxic relationships. I can't for the life of me understand what is so great about this book that has everyone tripping over it. It's not that good. And honestly, the characters aren't that well written. Again, not for me. As I mentioned before, I'm a Kindle girl. I switched over from books to Kindle like this summer, and I've read so many books and I can't wait to tell you guys. I feel like it's so much easier to DNF a book when you don't own like a physical copy of it because there's no pressure there. I hate it when I have to read a book and I already know it's not for me, but I have to continue because I want to see what it was really worth. Whereas now that I have a Kindle, I don't like your book, it's gone. So that's one thing I definitely want to say to you guys. I recommend if you're a big reader, get a Kindle. Totally worth it. Anyways, that's been it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment what you think in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Anyway, take care everyone. Bye. DNF stands for did not finish, and since becoming a Kindle girl, okay.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
filming behind the scenes for you.
Okay, let's go. TK. Oh, they're recording. Oh.
Go on. What's wrong with you? Can you stand on business? Stand on business. Stand on business. Stand on business.
I want to ask you, but anyway. I pick.
Let me see.
I pick.